Hey, what's up, everybody? We are here to do a few comparisons for the gem and some of the stronger symmetric stuff that we have in the lines right now, and the Axiom, which was unfortunately recently discontinued. But we're going to go ahead and show that one anyway. First of all, I want to shout out the companies that make this possible, which is Storm. Hey, I pointed to the right side that time. Storm, Turbo, SRGBBFS, Mart, and of course CoolWick. I've had a lot of people ask about these jerseys too, so if you're interested in my blackout or whiteout designs, just let me know, and I can try to see if we can make these available. Now, they'll come exactly like this, but it is what it is, and they're freaking cool. So, results in for 10% off at CoolWick. Mart link to buy the gem is down in the description below if you're interested in that or any other products that associate your purchases with me. And yada, 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 all the propaganda aside, we're going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to show Angel first. Most of this is going to be for me. A couple of setup of the rules. Here we are going to be talking gem and the balls on the thumbnail. So we're going to be talking gem, Helios, Axiom, Zen Master, and the other one, whatever it was. Phase 2. Been around for a while. Easy. Not really. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and hop into it with Angel here first. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Once again, I would ask that you kind of make the questions about what we're talking about. I will have other comparisons coming soon, and then we'll have kind of a free-for-all. I'll hit it with Phase 4, where it's just request anything, show anything. So, Angel versus Helios, or Angel and Helios. Angel, Gem, and Helios. So anyway, once again, up on the screen here, whenever I go to make a video, I always get more video than I actually need, and so some of this ends up getting cut out. Now, this initial cut that I'm showing right now, which is what goes into the video, I get home, I download everything, and then if there's any like shots that are just way out of left field, I cut those out from this initial build, and then this initial build will go into the video, and then I'll trim it down. Oh, the camera's flipped again? Oh, no, I know what happened. Oh, where's it at? Video, mirror, camera. Yeah, we reset the bring the cleaner on the computer, and it resets literally everything. So anyway, thanks, James. Morning, Kratos. So anyway, while we're watching this, once again, this is about the shots that make it into this initial cut right here are about 98% of the shots that we get, period. So I'm really just editing the wild stuff out, or if, it doesn't, people walk in front of the camera, or if, something just isn't pertaining to anything. Angel's tilt is probably 15 to 20%. She's been a little spinny here lately, but her ball reaction gotten better. So, and that's what Moknell always said, if you're straight at, you have no tilt, then you're probably not going to be scoring. You probably leave a lot of corner pins and don't score that well. And I have less tilt than she does, and she tends to carry some of the off hits that I don't. I tend to leave more stone stuff, and with her rev rate and speed, she has 10-pin problems. But generally speaking, if she hits, her ball reaction looks good, and she hits the pocket in good shape, she doesn't leave a whole lot of. She might leave a mixer 7 or a flat 10 every once in a while, but that's just kind of par for the course for her type of game. So tilt is actually a good thing. So once again, this is, or not once again, for the first time, this is on, I said it was going to be a sport comparison. It is a sport comparison. So this is the 2019 Nationals or USBC doubles and singles pattern. So it is 42 feet, 28.4 mils. So it's kind of it's either on the short side of long or the long side of medium. And the volume is pretty heavy. Once you get above about 25 mils, most house shots are 19 to 20 milliliters of oil. 25 is on the high side of medium. It's getting towards higher. Anything over 25 is pretty high. It's pretty wet. So yeah, it's just Angel being a little bit more. Angel was pretty animated. She always thought she had to be super serious, because I'm so boring. So she thought she had to be boring too. And I said no, and liven it up a little bit because I'm boring. But so anyhow, once again, the big difference here, if you watch the review, the big difference between the Helios and the gem is the asymmetric core of the gem versus the symmetric core of the Helios. The Helios just does not have the torque of that asymmetric core. It's kind of they're similar engines, but the gem has a turbo on it, basically, is the easiest way to kind of explain that. And so the turbocharged nature of the asymmetric cores gives them that extra torque to just fire in and just kick the ball no matter what. So it's going to generate some ball motion, some reaction down lane, where symmetrics are generally smoother. If you run into a point where symmetrics just aren't quite making the corner, or just a little slow to do it, just like that right there. Like it wanted to hook, but it didn't quite hook. Sometimes asymmetrics can be a little bit too early, but that's where you have this stuff, just like those last couple shots right there, where she left the flat 10 and then the next one didn't quite make it. That's when you would ball up to something like a gem that's similar cover strength, but has the extra strength generation or the extra torque at the asymmetric core to really finish that off. Or if the gem is hooking too much, then you can ball down into the Helios, which has the same type of look. It's just a little bit rounder, a little bit more controlled. So that's why they make so many bowling balls. I mean, part of it's because there's the demand for the bowling ball. They wouldn't make them if people weren't buying them. And I know that it seems like they come out too fast to keep track of, and that's even for us too. I mean, it's options are good, but sometimes too many options aren't. So the UFO alert's a really good compliment to the gem. I like the alert quite a bit anyway. As far as compliments go, I'm probably going to do that on the next stream. So this is going to be comparisons of stuff that's close. We're showing you mostly how symmetric balls and asyms differ. This is the house shot, so I'm going to start back over again here. So if you watch again after we watch the Helios, just watch. I mean, the gem is not really much faster. It's just more decisive. Like if you watch it down lane, it hooks more and it's more decisive when it goes to make its move. Anyway, back to that really quick. I will have a compliments video. I think that's what I'm going to do is comparison. So we're showing the difference kind of between asymmetric and symmetric today of the big hook monsters. And then I'm going to start doing a kind of a build-a-bag type thing where is this going to fit? Where is this ball going to fit in your bag? Obviously, with the gem, it's going to be on top of everything. I mean, there's not a ball out there that's stronger than this, I don't think. But then we'll do compliments. We'll do kind of a build-a-bag thing, show you where it fits, talk about when to use it, how to use it, that type of thing. The gem is pretty easy. It's just if they're flooded and you can't get this ball to hook, you're out of luck. There's just nothing. I mean. But looking at this again, like I said, in comparison just to the Helios right here, this one has the pull to get back up the hill, where the Helios just doesn't quite have that extra gear down lane. It's got the traction because you can see that she's in the same place with the Helios and the gem. It's just the down lane shape that is the difference here. Oh, also something to point out. Someone noticed in the video where I said lane machines can't oil the one board. Brunswick machine, the Authority or the 822 can actually oil the one board. So fun fact there is that the machines can oil the one board. However, there are no patterns or conditions out there that actually have the one board oiled. Because once you get out there, then you get a bunch of junk and gunk and whatever else going off the side of the lane and whatever else. So So I was wrong, but kind of, well, I was wrong basically about lane machines not being able to oil the one board. It's just that no matter what, the one board doesn't ever get oiled. So there will always be friction on the one board, no matter whether the lane machine oiling the lane can oil the one board or not. Hegel machines can't, Brunswick machines can, but the one board never gets oiled either way. So all right, the gem is way more ball than the X1, I would guess. Yes, the gem is not an X1 replacement. The shapes are different, the traction's different. Now, to be fair, the cover on the RSTX1 is Microtrax Hybrid. I think it's Microtrax 19 Hybrid, which is a different, it's the same formula. It's a different kind of mix, or there's a little bit of adjustment. But, so the gem is quite a bit stronger than the RSTX1, and part of that is that the core is a lot lower RG. That might be one to add into the next comparison. I'm not spending too much time on that right now, but gem is quite a bit stronger than the RSTX1, and the shapes aren't quite similar. So the RSTX1, the core in that is, I think, 253. So the gem core is the lowest RG that Roto's ever had in a ball at 247. That makes it really early, really rolly. And so aside from that's going to make it hook more, that's going to make it smoother normally. Lower RG stuff is normally really balanced, really smooth, really early, really rolly. So the gem and RSTX1 can live in the same bag, definitely. So if you have an RSTX1 already, don't worry about any overlap at all. I know it's the, hybrid versus solid of the same formula, but the cores make a pretty big difference here. So once again, I'm only going to show this one more time. I'm kind of rambling a little bit here. But if you watch the Helios, you see it just goes a little bit long. Let me rewind to a few of these shots here. So she's standing in the same place, and obviously she gets it in a little bit, it's going to hook. So the traction is about the same. And like I said in the review, I mean, you're not seeing a whole bunch different out of these balls, except when you have a shot like that where the Helios just kind of goes long and hits flat. That's the nature of a symmetric ball. And so that's where she's got a little bit of carry down going. And it gets out there and it just doesn't quite, you can see it's spin, and it's not really trying to get back up the hill. The whole point of the symmetric balls is something like an Iowa Helios is to be strong, but controllable at the same time. So for the heavier hands, and see she's moved right a little bit here to make the adjustment. So what you can do here is you can either move right to tighten up your angles. You don't always have to ball change, and I really recommend not ball changing unless you absolutely have to, because she's got, again, a good look with the Helios. And so instead of going back to the bag, well, this ball's not doing this from exactly where I'm standing, so I need to go get another ball. It's a whole lot better to just make the adjustment. The ball's reacting well. Make an adjustment first. Don't go digging in the bag unless you absolutely need to, because if you're already lined up, you already got the feel for this ball, it's going to be a whole lot easier to make the physical adjustment rather than go, burn a couple frames figuring out what the ball's going to do. So now she made the adjustment, just moved a little bit. Or you can slow your speed down. Now she's moved back left a little bit and slowed her speed down. But of course, that's a little bit, it's a little bit in between. That one, she got in there. I think that was the last one until we moved to the house shot. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to the gym one more time. Now the RSTs are 252. What am I thinking of then? I'm thinking of the difference between the X2 and the UFO, whatever the UFO core, ET core. But see, we can go back to this, and all of a sudden you see it gets down to the end of the lane. It looks like it's scrolling very heavy, very smooth, whatever else. But then you can see it gets down to the end, and then it pulls up hard. So that's one of the big. This is the best illustration of asymmetric versus symmetric that I think that you could have. You get down there, and the turbo kicks in, and it really pulls the asymmetrics up at the end of the lane. So again, with a look like this, I mean, she would throw the gem until she's forced out of it. And with as deep as you can get with it, once we got onto the house shot, there's no amount of oil that really I've found so far. Obviously, there's going to be certain situations where there's going to be such an abundance of friction that the ball's just going to burn up. It's just going to burn up. So even though she got that one out, it still got back up the hill. It's not gonna give you one of these. If you're throwing decent shots, it's gonna get back up the hill. It's at least gonna make the pocket. So she's moving even a little bit further right with this, and doesn't get the hit there, but it got there. You can see it really wind up towards the end of the lane. And punch. So we'll probably go ahead and move to me now and look at some of the other comparisons. If you remember, I did a sport comparison when the Idle Helios came out with the Zen Master, the Axiom, and the Phase 2. So that's what we're going to pull in and look at. So that one she olayed just a little bit too much, but a little adjustment just kind of straighten it out a little bit more. And punch. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and pull this other video in as you watch a little bit of the Helios here. And once again, I know I'm, kind of beating the horse here, but you can really see the difference between asymmetric and symmetric right here. Best illustration you'll ever see. I'm kind of happy that it showed up that way on video, because it's hard to explain without having the illustration. All right. All right, we're going to go on ahead and pull these in. Actually, I don't want to pull this video in yet. I want to pull my gem video in here first. All right. All right, once again, about 98% of the shots that we get during filming go into this initial cut, where it's then further cut down to kind of fit the video. I go on ahead and write my thoughts down and talk about what I want to talk about, and I kind of build the video around what I had to say. So some shots, about 98% of the original shots make it into the initial cut, and then about 70% of the initial cut makes it into the actual review most of the time. I don't just cut out all the shots that don't strike. I cut out quite a few strikes too. I don't know if I'll talk about it when I get to them. But most of the shots make it into the final cut. So hopefully this ball will be my replacement for my Halo solid. Actually, the Proton physics is a lot closer to the original Halo than the Gem is. The Gem has the same cover stock formula, basically. The shapes are pretty different, though. The Gem shapes a lot more like the UFO does than it does like the Halo. But it's going to be, you're going to feel the stupid hand in a stupid way. The Halo feels somewhat like the Gem, but it shapes a whole lot more like the Proton does. So if you want a Halo replacement, a lot better to get a Proton, I think. I think it's going to remind you a lot more of the Halo. Not trying to talk you out of this one, but the shapes are different. And I think this one's fantastic. I do like this one better than the Proton. The Proton's a little arky and angular for me. I like the rounder Yeah, the release video Roto used with Canon was brutal. Deflect, I don't know what happened in that video. I really don't, because I don't. I watched that video actually after I had thrown the gem myself. I had no idea what was going on because we went out and we threw the gem around for a bit, got some video and whatever else. We thought it was amazing. And then we see that video and it's kind of like, what ball were they using in that video? Yeah, and the layouts were really super early and pukey, and I just don't understand. This is what the gem looks like, though. So for everybody that watched that video from HQ or both of them and were concerned, this is what the gem looks like. Speaking of that, Tamer Bowling also has his review up. A couple different reviews. He's got a couple different looks at it. You might want to go check those out. He's got, like I said, he's got 3 different videos, I think. And he got the same read and the same look that we do, or that we did. And Luis Annapolis, his review is going up at noon Central. So here in about an hour and a half, Luis's video is going to go up. So I will be in the chat for that. Definitely want to go check that out. But he has already talked to me a little bit, and he has the same read that we have. And he actually drilled. He's got 2 different layouts on his too. He's got a pin up and a pin down, so you'll want to check that out. Tamer's got a few different looks. I've got a fork pattern, and then Luis has a couple different layouts. So there's a lot of variation in just those few videos if you want to go check those out. So once again, you can see, there's a few 9 pins or something in here that I cut out. But I mean, this thing's kind of bulletproof. And again, like I said, this is 98% of the shots that I got, period. So I mean, this is a fairly tough pattern, but this was a whole lot easier to film than the reality and the Proton, definitely. And I'll probably show those at the end of the video. I want to go on ahead and get into some of the other comparisons because I know that some of you are really itching to see. I've had a lot of want to see this versus the Zen Master. This first, I think that this is the closest description I can give you. This feels like an asymmetric Axiom. It rolls very, very similar. Once we get into the video, we can really see what it looks like. But I still have that Axiom. I use that Axiom quite a bit actually on tougher stuff. And so this gem and Axiom are going to be a great 1-2 punch, depending on whether I need the torque or need the control. But at the same time, really, there's the torque and the control out of the gem. So really, just the Axiom is lower. So if the gem is just a little bit too much ball or a little bit too much top down lane, then I can go to the Axiom, which is a whole lot smoother. Or it just doesn't have the stupid hand in the stupid way. I'll remember that for next time. But yeah, I mean, this is just, it manages the lane so well. It's just so controllable. It's so easy to throw because you can, I mean, I didn't have to force the ball down the lane. I could still roll it, and it would hook, and it would shape, and it would finish, and it would drive, and it would hit, and it was doing everything, allowing me to kind of be relaxed and throw it. And it's a very good matchup here, so it's not like this is going to match up perfect for everybody. You have some higher speeds that it's a higher speed, lower rev rate that it's not going to probably shape enough for. It's probably going to be a little bit too slow, so you're better off going with a reality there. It matched up for Angel and me because we kind of have speed and rev matched games. I don't have a whole lot more speed, a whole lot more rev than Angel does, but we're speed and rev matched, and so that's going to be, I think, the ideal situation for this ball, even on house shots. Oh, get the roll. Could have shown that in the video. And as I move around here, I tug the crap out of that one. Take that one out of the video. That didn't make the cut. Didn't strike, so we can't put it in there. I'm going to also have just these last couple shots. It is kind of tricky moving zone to zone. and getting the feel down. And there's a big difference between showing a miss, because somebody's going to look at that. Somebody's going to look at these last two shots. I want to go, whoa. What in balls happened there? Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. That was the wrong one to click on. Okay, we're back here. I clicked on the wrong one. So, all right, I'm going to go back into that, start everything back up here again. Sorry about that. I was meaning to back up on... Oh boy, now I reset everything. No. Okay, there we go. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I meant to rewind on the actual video to go show. Okay, yeah, there we go. So we're looking at this here. When I move zones, I tugged that one a little bit because I didn't want to throw it out there. And so people are going to look at that and say, oh, wow, that ball hooked too much. No, it was a terrible shot. I mean, if you look at where my break point has been, you know, there's my break point around 5. And it's no matter where I'm at, it's going to be 5. So this one doesn't get left of 10. I hooked too much. I missed 5 boards inside on a tough pattern. Now this one, okay, that one was in just a little bit too, but I still was kind of trying to get it out there. That one I just, oh, that was a pretty good shot. Where's the one where I just kind of bail out of? Yeah, that one. You can just see the full send just right off my hand. If you watch how I rolled these last, even when I'm missing, look at the roll on that. So I rolled it, just tugged it. It's not, I mean, any ball is going to, on this type of a pattern, if you miss 5 inside, every ball's going to hook. So to me, that shot only causes confusion in a review, even though somebody, oh, you're just taking all the, I took several strikes out too. You're just taking all the misses out. No, I'm not taking all the misses out. I'm taking all the physical misses out that could be interpreted as something different for the ball reaction. So we're trying to look at ball reaction, and you know, it can be a good thing for other reviewers to seem more transparent or something by just putting everything in there. But if you're putting in a shot that adds nothing to the video or that just can cause confusion, I want it gone. So I've left, if I make a decent shot, or if I'm in the right spot, I make a decent shot and the ball does something different, that's what I'm going to leave in there. If it all of a sudden starts hooking, or if it pushes a little too far, just like Axiom and Helios. She was in the right spot making good shots, and then all of a sudden she had one push on her, and then she had the next one push a little bit more, and so then she made the adjustment. That's the type of stuff I want to show. I don't want to show me missing 5 boards inside on a sport pattern when it's obvious anything's going to hook off the planet from there. So there's no value to showing that shot, and it's only going to make people think, oh wow, that ball overhooked. No, I missed. So the next one here again, that one I got soft with and missed inside. And even then, like I said, I'm aiming for 5 boards. So again, I've got a whole lot more room. I got slow with that one, and I got it a little bit in. This one's a much better shot right here. 5 board, nice shot, bang. This one, I just fling. If you watch my hand, I just kind of I just bail on it. My timing's a little early, and I just don't catch it all. I just kind of dump it. See, I just kind of flung that way out there, and it didn't quite make it back. It did kind of make it back up the hill, and so it can be good to know. Okay, so it can be. This is also a good point. It's good to know how bad things can be if I make a physical mistake. Clearly with this ball, if I tug it in a little bit, there's no margin for error. This is the problem, though, and why I don't know. This is the problem, though, why I don't want to show shots like that. Clearly with this, it has nothing, that's the thing. This is a super, super tough pattern. It has absolutely nothing to do with this ball because the rest of the balls that I'm going to show you all hook on this pattern if you tug it in a little bit. You know, and if we go onto the house shot, all of a sudden I've got all kinds of room inside. And so this is exactly specifically the thing or the idea that I don't want people to come away with, because that's exactly, I can make shot after shot after shot, but I get a little bit slow with one or I tug one. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, if I miss inside, the ball's going to overhook. I've got no room for error on the, I've got no margin for error on the inside, which is just not correct. But that's why I remove shots like this from the video, so that this idea doesn't, and I'm not meaning to single you out or whatever else, but this is exactly why I don't want to put shots like that in the video, because it's not the ball. And everybody in different situations, you know, there's going to be, you're going to have margin for error that somebody else doesn't. Higher speeds are going to have more miss room inside than they do outside. If they get the ball going too far outside, it's just going to disappear. I've got more margin for room outside because of my softer speed and the heavier roll that I have on the ball. I personally, and this pattern, are going to create little or less miss room inside than outside. So while you can look at it and say, oh wow, that ball really peels off the gutter, that's going to do it for me, and if I miss inside, it's going to overhook, it might be completely opposite for you. It might be completely different. If you have higher speed, you're not going to get the recovery off the ditch that I will. Meanwhile, you're going to have a whole lot more tug room inside than I am because of your higher speed. So it's not a ball specific thing. Pattern length and volume is 42 foot, 28.4 mils. And I do have some shots in here as well too that I do, but once I get a little bit deeper, that's a better shot. See, and look, okay, so I got that one in. So it's gonna hook. But once again, this is a very tough pattern. This is like a 3-to-1 ratio or something like that. So it is a sport, or it's less than that. It's like 2.4-to-1 or something like that. So it's a very tough pattern. If you miss in with absolutely anything on this pattern, it's going to fly. So here I'm just kind of getting readjusted. I made another zone move, and so I'm getting readjusted what I need to do with the ball to get it to react. And bam. So you have to watch, you can't just watch where the ball is thrown, you have to watch how the ball is thrown too. So that's the thing, is you can't, you know, because earlier I was peeling stuff off the 1 or 2 board. And I can do that from this deep if I roll it correctly. So it's not, you have to pay attention to a whole lot more. If I obviously throw the ball slow, that's going to give it more time to react. That's going to give it, you know, more time to react basically. So if I throw it slow, it's going to react stronger than if I throw it fast. See, I got that one back. So these last 2 shots, I didn't get one back and then I got one back. So that one I got my hand around it, didn't let it walk out there. The next one I'm going to put right out there, but my speed was high, so it didn't quite get back up the hill. It got back up enough to mix them up. But, so I saw that and I wanted to soften my speed up a little bit. So rolled the ball better there. Looked a little bit better. Let me see what I tighten up this time. That one I just tugged the crap out of. But, okay, so watch this. So this is exactly what we were just talking about. So I let the other ones out a little bit and they didn't quite make it back up the hill. And so this next one, I took some hand out of it and it was quite a bit further inside and it held. But it's because, so that's a break point of 8 and it held. You know, if I was tugging it into a few shots earlier, I hit the 6 board and it hooked too much. So how can it hook too much on 6 one time and then sit there on 8 the next time? So that's something that's very difficult to communicate or see in a video, is shot quality. If you're throwing it harder, slower, getting more on it, getting around a little bit more, that's a whole lot harder to see in a video than watching the ball roll and seeing what board it hits. So those are the kind of things where I don't try to create a narrative. I try to weed out. There's a fine balance to these things, and so I try to weed out stuff that's just going to confuse people. Okay, this thing is not having fun today, so I'm gonna pop this back in. We're going to go back to kind of where we were at. So we're almost to the end here, and I spent more time than I wanted to spend. So yeah, we're back to kind of where we were at here towards the end of the video as I'm getting deeper. That one I kind of just flagged it. You can see my hand kind of pop open. It just kind of flagged it, so I didn't really get the roll on it that I was intending to. And now that I'm in deeper, I'm a little bit more comfortable, have a little bit better feel for what I need to do to the ball, and now I'm back to rolling it again. So we're going to bring the other ones in that I was talking about 20 or 30 minutes ago. Great shot to finish off the video. So there is the gem. Now we're going to go to the Helios, the Axiom, the Zen Master, and the Phase 2. All right, so if you've seen this video, you've already kind of seen this before. However, the comparison to the gem is what I want to show off here. Shameless propaganda and promotion. I like how this works out. So we're going to start off with the Phase 2, and right away, all these are symmetric. They all have very similar numbers and similar strengths, however. So they're all very close to the strength of the gem overall. They're just symmetric instead of asymmetric. Back with all the orange. And back with not really throwing it that great. So you'll have to kind of... So as you can see, this is the same exact pattern, by the way. This is why I wanted to show this, because this is kind of my de facto sport pattern. It's a longer, heavier. If I do something that's kind of medium, or that's kind of like a house shot length with just a little bit more volume, all it's going to do is make the ball look touchier or more sensitive than it actually is. The vast majority of people bowl on house shots, so that's why we show stuff on house shots. I don't want to show something on a sport pattern and then you think that you're going to get that reaction for your house shots. But on stronger stuff like this, you should be buying these and drilling these for tougher, heavier conditions. Somebody sent me something the other day and was asking about the gem, and for his league shot, I said, I don't really know about that, but his league shot's 42 feet long and like 26 mils. And I'm like, okay, that's a different story, because most people's house shots are like 40 feet and 20 mils, because they want to give people friction. Not everybody hooks the ball a whole bunch, so they want to give people ball motion. It's not really very fun to go out there with your bag full of 4 to 6 $200 balls and see everything just kind of spin down the lane, plus more oil costs them more. So it just works out from, several different angles. So yes, I tucked my pinky. So the same general thing is I'm aiming for the 5 board. Aiming for the 5 board. If I get it in, see, I got that one in a little bit and it hooked. So the Phase 2 is one of the most controllable, versatile balls out there. This is just a difficult pattern. This is the whole story about difficult patterns, is they make you be accurate. And so saying that you don't have, there's no miss room inside, well, that's the pattern. That has nothing to do with the ball. and everything to do with the pattern. So the phase 2, so this is really interesting because it looks like it's both stronger and weaker at the same time. The gem is more consistent from shot to shot to shot. So I'm going to start, well, I don't want to start the ball over again. But if we watch this here, bam, that one was pretty sharp. That one was pretty firm gem, I would say. That one too, that's a nice, maybe not sharper than the gem, but really close. And then that one went just a little bit late. But again, I wasn't really throwing it that great in the video, and I'm kind of revving it up a little bit more. That one was pretty sharp. But you can see that even the phase 2 doesn't quite blend the lane. If I get it in a little bit, it goes. If I get it out a little bit, it kind of doesn't want to quite make the corner. So on that one, it didn't quite make it back. So you can see how really good on shots like that. The phase 2 is almost like a step down from a reality. It shapes a lot like a reality. It's just less of it, and it's smoother. So yeah, you can see it just, once again, the gem did the exact same thing from first arrow as it did from in deeper. So what balls are we comparing? The balls in the thumbnail. So all the ball pictures on the thumbnail that you saw when you clicked on the video, that's what we're comparing. So now we're going to take a look at the Zen Master. I got this requested, and everybody knows how I feel about the Zen Master, but I want to show it because it is ridiculously good for high rep rate. I've seen a lot of people, I thought this is one of the worst balls I've ever thrown personally. And I drilled it 2 different ones, 2 different ways, and both of them were awful. On house shot, I filmed several different times too, because we filmed on the house shot 2 different times, and I filmed on this a separate time, and then I tried to use them otherwise, I tried to take the lead, whatever else. It just a wretched ball motion. But because it's so slow and smooth, it's really good with some lane shine on it for 2-handers. Matter of fact, I said in this video that I left the building without it. I gave it to a high school kid, or I gave it to his dad rather. And his dad decided it would be a good look for his son. And yeah, so the kid's a right-handed 2-hander, gets it re-drilled, shoots 790 his next high school match. And I've seen a lot of big rev rates because it hooks early and then it keeps moving, it keeps walking up, it keeps going. And so there are no bad balls, there's just bad ball reactions. And that's why I got a little bit funny with it in this particular video, but that's why I tried to still give it a fair shot in the review, because I don't want to hype something up or give you opinion or whatever else. I want to give you the ball reaction and the details and the facts about the ball reaction. This one just really sucks for me. So I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of value out of watching this, because I just couldn't get it to strike. See, that one, when it goes, the first one, it hooked way too early. Or no, it didn't. Okay, that one didn't make it. 710, so that's awesome. This is again 2000 grit. Too long and too sharp. Reminds me a lot of the Optimus Solid. So that one, of course, I tugged it, but I felt like I had to tug it, or I felt like I had to not give it as much room because it just wasn't hooking. So I'm like, well, I give it less room. This is, again, that's a pretty good shot. If that one doesn't strike, I quit. So yeah, but I just don't have anything. That was a good shot. I've had shots like that, and then just a little bit, just a board left, and that doesn't make it. I'm moving around the lane, that's going to hook off the lane. Yeah. So, just not a whole lot of forgiveness with the Zen Master, and I really thought that it was going to annihilate this pattern. I would still recommend it for for a lot of people, specifically for nationals, because I don't think that my results were indicative of what it's going to do for other people. I think it's going to be ridiculous on the team pattern. You might need to take it down to 1,000 grit or something, or really put the surface on it. But on tough patterns, because of how early and smooth it is, it should control everything, period. The IQ Tour Solids get to the point where it's starting to show its age a little bit. I still throw it every once in a while, but it's just not strong enough for the majority of what I get on. I'm finding myself in stuff like the Axiom that has the teeth, or if I'm not in the Axiom, I'm in urethane. So now we're going to look at the Axiom, and this is the one that I think most closely resembles the gem. The Axiom's obviously been discontinued, but I think that this one reacts the most like the gem, or a symmetric version of the gem. Zen Master is really good for high rev rates, but which of these symmetricals are better for lower rev rates? I would say the Helios without question. The Phase 2 is still pretty smooth and controllable. It's a different shape than the Zen Master, but the Idle Helios, because of that NEX cover, or its extreme tracks, it's basically NEX. It's got a lot of shape for how much it hooks. So I would say if you want something that's strong and that punches at the same time, Helios hands down. Don't even look at anything else. So as we watch the Axiom, it just reacts like the gem. It just reacts. It's so similar, and that's why I've really liked the Axiom quite a bit, because it splits the gap between something like a Phase 2 and the Zen Master. It's got more control, kind of like a Zen Master, but it's got a little bit of shape. But it controls the lane so much better than even the, of all these that I tested, this one, or that I had in this video, this one controlled the lane the best. It gave me the most forgiveness because it would hook and then it would hold. And so I think you can see if I got it out a little bit, it would make it back up to the pocket. It's still got a nice shape, and that's the other thing about the gem is as I continue to get deep, it continues to do the same thing. Like if we go back to the Phase 2, sometimes it would be a little too sharp, sometimes it would be a little bit too lazy, but the Axiom continued to react in the same spot, no matter where I was standing from, and just managed to blend the lane, get up, hit strong, continue, carry, whatever else. It was the favorite of mine out of the 4 of these in this video on this pattern. So the Helios is pretty sharp. The Helios is definitely the sharpest out of these 4. It gives me the most mist room outside. So you can see the difference in this between the Zen Master. If I got the Zen Master out before, it was late. It was late, it was lazy, it was not making it back. Same thing with kind of the Phase 2. If I got it out a little bit too far, it didn't quite have the wheels to get back up the hill. Helios, I can kind of put it out there, and it kind of wants to be put out there. It wants you to just send it, because if you try to roll it, or get, tight with it, it doesn't want that. It wants you to just go on ahead and throw it. Just go on ahead and execute. That was pretty good. Yeah, bang. So you can see where I got on some of these with the Helios, where I get a little tentative or try to roll it. That one's way inside. I tried to make it hook. This one I put aside, I just went ahead and threw it and throws them all over the place. That one I got tight and slow with again, and I tried to make it, but it didn't really want to. That one, I just gave it the business again, and it almost went a little bit too long, but it does really like to move on the back end. That one I got tight with again, so that's going to go. That one was pretty good. Bang. See, some of these balls, again, they look better. The stronger equipment, and the bowling balls are stronger now than people realize that they are. And so the stronger equipment hooks more than you realize. And so they want to, the saying is let the ball do the work. I like to really control everything, but my best ball reaction is when I just let the ball do the work, when I just relax and throw the ball and let it do the work. The Helios is the absolute definition of let the ball do the work, because it hooks, it punches, it does all the above, and it looks so much better if you just throw the ball. That conserves, there's no really such thing as conserving energy, but it pushes the reaction down the lane further, so it's not using up so much energy or using, starting up so early. The way they use to just the way that most people describe it is energy, but that's not really the you're putting the energy in a different place, or you're using the energy in a different place. Instead of using it to hook, you're using it down lane to finish and punch and pop and whatever else. So let's see how many more bad shots I throw with this thing. That I sent just a little bit too much, but it got back. So that one by far gives me forgiveness outside. And then I started to get kind of comfortable with it and just kind of flip it out there and let it go. That's another pretty good one. So yeah, and you can tell, once again, like I was talking earlier about execution quality, if you watch, you have to watch closely, but if you watch very closely, not all shots are created equal. And just because I hit the 5 board doesn't mean I threw it well. I think on sport patterns, it's more important where you throw it. Your shot quality isn't as important as long as you hit your target. And on a house shot, it's kind of the opposite. It's more important how you throw it than where you throw it. Because on a house shot, most of the time you got 5 or 6 boards for the area. As long as you throw it good, you're going to throw pins around, you're going to mix them up, you're going to trip forwards, you're going to do whatever else. It's paramount to make good shots, good accurate shots. On sport patterns, you can get away with maybe fluffing it a little bit or hitting a little bit too much if you hit what you're aiming at. Oh, balls. All right, I don't know why this thing's having so many problems today. Let's go ahead and add this back in. All right, where are we at here? Okay, so we're gonna watch some Helios. And after we watch this, I will answer some questions here really quick, and then put the gym back in and kind of show how much better I was throwing it in the gym video. So yeah, you can see going back to execution quality, you can see when I actually get out of the ball clean and make a good shot versus where I get tight. Tight and slow, and that one you can see I kind of just elbow it, or I kind of elbow it out there because I'm afraid to get it out too far. That one I still kind of see the last two I flung my elbow on because I'm trying to get it out there without really opening up and pushing it out there. So I'm trying to keep it from going too far out. But as soon as I kind of let go, open my shoulders a little bit, more open there, but I still didn't commit to letting it out. So the last 3 shots were bad execution, just period. So it has nothing to do with ball quality. Once again, I flagged my elbow, and then that one I'm just scared to get it out there. But as soon as I just relax, I get in a little bit, then I get inside of that one, put it out. Shot quality, 10 out of 10. Relax and actually get it out there, and the ball reacts. Look at that. When you actually make a good quality shot, there's no struggling, there's no worrying, and I got the ball out further that time than some of the other ones where it kind of wiggled and didn't quite make it back. So I moved like 5 right with my feet. So I got deeper, hit a board further out than what the ball recovered from on a straighter line, and it hooked. So, I mean, once again, shot quality. I will talk about, man, I really got all of that one. I will talk about shot quality all day long. It's something that's very hard on video, which is why I try to arrange things the way that I try to arrange them, so that you don't look at something and get a false read from a video or say, oh, well, that ball didn't hook. No, that ball was thrown terribly. That's why it didn't hook. That was pretty good, but inside, that's better. See, I can tell, I didn't memorize all these shots in here. It's just watching the shot off my hand. That was pretty good. So if you actually watch for this, then you can see shot quality. Let me catch up with the chat here a little bit. is the gems, and thanks for those that are answering the questions here. I have a Rotogrip Rubicon Solid. Should I get the gem or the UC3? Those are fairly different. One's kind of earlier and smoother, and the other one's a whole lot earlier and smoother. The UC3 is going to be a shape difference. It's going to be earlier and smoother than the Rubicon, but about similar. The UC3 is weird. It's hard to really put my finger on exactly what that ball does because it kind of reacts like a smooth reactive ball more than like a urethane ball. So it really, I mean, I have it acting kind of like a Omega Crux inside, just not quite as sharp as the inside, but it's weird. It's almost right on top of my Nova too, which sounds just stupid saying it, but it's early and slow, and it still hooks a decent amount. So, I mean, is the gem stronger than the reality? In terms of traction and hook, yes, it's smoother than the reality though. I know the Phase 2 is so goated at this point that it's not going anywhere, but I really think the Axiom is a better ball. Sad to see it discontinued. I favor the Axiom. I like the Phase 2 on the right side quite a bit. I had several of them, made a lot of money with them. Loved them on the right side. On the left side, I need to put a different layout on it. This 5-inch pin just goes a little bit too long. It's a little too long, a little too quick. So I just need a different layout on it, I'm pretty sure. The gem and the nuclear cell are both asymmetric. That's about as close as they get. One's built to be early and big, the other one's built to go long and flip. Yeah, the Goku shirt is clean. Yeah, once again, this is a CoolWick design. Like the one that I'm wearing here too. Use my code ROSEDOLL10 for 10% off of this Goku design. It is DBG is the design name on CoolWick.com. RoseDoll10 gets you 10% off the checkout. Helios is pretty snappy, but again, all of this stuff is going to look snappier on these conditions because they're built for heavier oil. When you're using them on a drier condition, all these balls are going to be earlier and smoother because they're hooking earlier. Now on this, there's enough volume to get even this strong stuff down the lane, and so that helps conserve energy. It's just the easiest way to say it. It helps push the ball reaction further down the lane. It helps counteract what's going on with the ball. So that's why you use snow tires on a car for snow. You don't use them on a stock car for NASCAR racing. That wouldn't make any sense. The tire would get chewed up and you'd be sliding all over the place even with a grippier tire because you're using the wrong tire for the situation. Does the Axiom have a similar ball motion to ProMotion? Not really. The ProMotion is kind of like a stronger IQ Tour. It's that really strong, that really slow, smooth, buttery kind of look there. So it's like Kratos said, it's butter. All right, so this back half of the video, I went to a fresh lane and threw all of them and just threw a shot from each zone here to kind of show you what the ball did from each different zone on a fresh lane, because I threw quite a few shots on the other lane and towards the end they might have looked a little different. Base coming, you throw this many balls from with this kind of surface on it, it's going to tear up a lane fast. So I wanted to go back to here to get just a couple shots before I beat up the lane, just to show you a more equal comparison, I guess. Man, this software is not really earning any brownie points from me today. Every time I go to turn the video on, it says that there's an error and it gets rid of it. So, all right, so move back just a little bit. All right, so after this shot, we'll go over to the fresh lane. Once again, if my timing is good and I snap through it, bang, look at that. So now we're back. Now we're on a fresh lane. Phase 2 has such a nice ball motion. It's that arky, really controllable, nice, pretty looking, not too fast, not too slow, not too strong, not too weak. That's why it's been around for so long, because it's so controllable and it's so blendy. It manages the lane so well. I mean, and that was pretty clean and it popped, but I gave it actually a good shot. ball reaction will always look better on good shots than if you tug it, dump it, grab it, help it, whatever else. That's why these bowling balls are so strong. Let the ball do the work. Just get out of its way. And I don't get out of my own way very often. So, but once I kind of got loosened up with the Helios, I did throw better shots over here. And normally when I have more contaction, especially down lane, if I can float the ball out there or put it out there, my release is really good. I've got a really clean release, but sometimes it's a little too clean and I worry about the ball going too far. So instead I grab it and go through the nose of the big four. So that makes sense. Zen Master, I only showed one shot here because I threw a bunch of them and it looked as bad as it did on the other side of the lane. It just, if I got it out a little bit, in a little bit, it hooked. I think I might have thrown one or two shots that struck the entire time, and so I just didn't even want to show it. Yeah, I need a new tech guy. No, the tech guy is fine. The frickin' this stuff, all I'm doing is pausing it and starting it over again or moving the slider back and forth, and it keeps dumping the videos. So software is not earning any brand points today. Yeah, the Axiom is a beefier phase 2. That's really what it is. It reacts pretty close to the same. It's just the Axiom stronger, and that's going to make it a little bit blendier. So, bang. Yeah, that Axiom is definitely furry. Came out of the box with like 561 grit. And the Helios is pretty good too. I need to re-drill mine because I really like it. It's just a little too sensitive to throw, or it's less sensitive than the other ones. And that phase 2, you can make it pop or you can make it smooth. So you can see that very similar ball motion. The phase 2 is, and here's the bonus shots of the UC3 and its weirdness. I still can't explain the UC3, but that's how it compares. The UC3 is crazy. I don't even understand it. Can't. All right, so we're gonna watch through these one more time if this software lets me do it, and then we'll go back to the gym and take a look at that. Good shot strike. PSA. Doing a heckin' genius. Thanks everybody that's hanging out. Hopefully this isn't too long and boring, but I like really diving into the details of stuff, and I think too much. Hopefully my thinking too much can help those of you that can actually relax and throw a shot without taking shots. So we'll get a fresh look at all of these. I'll go back to the gym and we'll look at the differences. Woof. But like I said, to remember, or like I said, for those of you that might have still been watching 20 minutes ago, the Axiom is kind of like a symmetric gem. The gem reminds me a bunch of the Axiom. I still do have an Axiom and I use it. It's kind of my de facto big ball right now because the reality is way too fast. And the Proton's a little too fast and a little too straight off the end of the pattern. So the Axiom is kind of my de facto big hook monster ball. Helios is just a little, again, the Helios is I really, really like that ball roll. I just need to put a different lamp. Actually, what's worse, that match, the old matchup Pearl or the Zen Master? Actually, the worst ball I've ever thrown is the Ebonite Savage Flip. Oh, thanks, Mervin. Yeah, my channel's doing pretty good. I'm trying to refresh some things, and I'm definitely not going to get any more interesting. I'm just going to be the tech guy, period. And then bonus shots of the UC3. Now we're going to go back to the gym video. Like, favorite, subscribe. Rosedoll 10, 10% off CoolWick. Follow that Bowler's Mart link. Buy turbo grips. All right, there we go. There it is. We go back to this. And it's nice to be throwing it better. These first few shots were a little tentative because, again, I'm just getting loose, figuring out what the ball's actually going to do. Once I got comfortable with what the ball was doing, then of course I loosened up a little bit. I had a trip to the bar, that helped too. See this, you can see that the shot quality is not great. So watch these first few shots again, because really tentative and slow, just kind of trying to float it or touch it or do much to it. I'm just trying to, my speed's a little fast, and I'm just kind of I'm scared of it almost. That was a decent shot. This next one here, even though it strikes, I just kind of shove it. I don't quite get it out as soon, but you can see just watch. Yeah, I just kind of, everything, my hand gets there at the same time as my feet do. You just, there we go. There's a more confident shot. So once again, these are small things you can see in ball reviews to really help you get the most out of them. You have to watch shot quality. You can't just watch what the ball's doing and what board it hits, because that's not going to give you the whole story. You have to watch shot quality. So once again, like I was saying, with this reacts a bunch like the Axiom, and I wasn't quite, banking it off the two boards. But you can see how similar it is to the Axiom as I kind of move in a little bit. It doesn't have that clean kind of archy look. Stupid hand in the stupid way. It doesn't have that kind of clean archy look that the Phase 2 does, and it doesn't have kind of that Optimus solid look. That's the best thing I know that most of you won't even get that reference, but it doesn't have that Optimus solid look to where it looks like it wants to hook and it looks like it doesn't want to hook that the Zen Master does. The Zen Master looks a whole lot different. The Zen Master looks like an earlier and smoother Phase 2 for most people that I've seen. So it's earlier and slower than the Phase 2 is really the actual look of the Zen Master. I don't think that it really acts like that for me at all. But I'm going to answer some questions here. I think this will probably be the end of the video. There will be people watching later that aren't live, so I'll answer some stuff. And if we need to throw something else back in here, we'll do that. I'll go on ahead and set this to loop so that you can just watch for a little while if you want to just watch and look at the ball motion without somebody telling you what it's doing. That's why I kind of like the Bowling Fix. I like watching, and I know the guys from the Bowling Fix. They're down in Wichita, and they make the Bowling Fix and Casey Murphy. I like just watching the ball roll. I don't need someone to tell me what the ball's doing, because I can see what the ball is doing, and I can see all these little things too that I'm talking about as far as shot quality. If somebody gets fast or gets around it or gets too far behind it or sails it or grabs it or is throwing it tight or whatever else. So I can see what the ball's doing, and I have no problem reading ball reaction. And at some point, I would say that I always recommend that people watch my reviews with the sound off. Just watch the review, go back, and even if you've seen my gem review, go back, turn the sound off. Just watch the ball roll, then turn the sound back on and listen to what I'm talking about and see if that really matches up to what you're seeing, what you're thinking. That's a really good way to train yourself. I know it's a popular thing to have people describe the ball reaction, describe the differences, but once you develop that eye for ball reaction, you can see it all without somebody telling you. So I like the Helios comparison to the gem. It really showed the asym diff. Also loved the idea of complement balls. Yeah, so we're going to do a few different things with this. Next weekend, I will do some different comparisons. We'll talk about building a bag around the gem, and there's different ways to build a bag too, because having a gem versus a reality on top of your bag. If you have higher speed and a lower rev rate, you're going to want the reality at the top of your bag rather than this, because this is kind of early and slow. The reality still hooks a bunch. It's just a whole lot faster. Let me actually put the video with the reality and the Proton. I'm going to get the original, the first cut of all of these. So we've seen the gem here a bunch. So I'm going to go on ahead and put this video in that has the reality, kind of when I'm finishing up here, that has the reality and the Proton, and that shows you all the shots. I had to condense a lot of these shots of the reality and the Proton for the video because I just didn't have enough time to fit all these shots in. But watch this here for a little bit, and then yeah. So I need to work on rolling the ball more. I don't get low enough and end up always lofting the ball. I am getting taller and taller, not in height. I keep standing up more and more. I need to get down a little bit further. And I don't really see it until I watch the video like this. And I'm just kind of walking, straight up. I don't have a whole lot of knee bend, and I'm pretty straight up and down, but you do need to, just for geometry's sake, you need to get down a little bit further on the ball. When I throw it much better, it puts everything in a whole lot better line when I actually get down on the ball. So probably someone asked you already, why don't you mirror the video for right-handers? Because the ball reaction on the left side of the lane isn't quite the same as the ball reaction on the right side of the lane. And Angel and I get fairly similar looks, but if I were to flip the video, people don't like that. It helps you if you're not used to looking at ball reaction from the left side of the lane, it can kind of help you from a perspective standpoint, but stuff is quite a bit sharper on the left side of the lane. Ball reaction is quite a bit sharper on the left side of the lane, and there's not as much room. I don't have as much forgiveness. So there's a lot of things about ball reaction on the left side of the lane that don't translate, and that's been kind of significantly frustrating for me, because I thought that I was going to be able to translate a lot more stuff from the right side to the left side than I actually have been able to, and so that put me in a bad place. And then now I'm trying to basically learn stuff all over again, and it still makes me mad when I make moves or mistakes that would either work on the right side or that I get away with on the right side, and I don't get away with them on the left side. So it really, really bowling on the left side is one of the most frustrating things I've ever done. I think mostly because of coming from a right-handed perspective and just getting used to ball reaction and lane play and whatever else on the right side. It's very, very different on the left side. So, all right, so watching the Proton here, you can see it's just not controlling the lane as well as the gem. It's a little cleaner and a little sharper, and then the reality is just all kinds of ball. It's just all kinds of hook, and I don't think you'll see any better ball reaction. I mean, the reality is just one of the prettiest balls to watch ever, period. It's a faster, stronger phase 2. So you're not going to find better ball reaction or prettier ball reaction out there. It's also really versatile. It's a great ball, but you can already see where I'm just having to fling it to get it down the lane. I just have to absolutely chuck, throw, dump, whatever else to get this ball down the lane, because it's just just a few shots in and it's already going bonkers. Now I've got to move, but then the problem with it is it's clean and flippy for how much it hooks. And so then all of a sudden now I have to both grab it, kind of get around it, whatever else. So I have to fling it out there to get it down the lane. And then I have to roll it to make it hook, which doesn't really help work whatever else. And so it's one of the most fun balls you'll ever throw, but it's not very effective for me at all. It just, I can't get it to the pocket. I mean, I can, but it's just so difficult to, it's either too much, it either hooks too much or doesn't hook enough. But it's so pretty going down the lane. And that's the thing that makes me want to chase it, because it looks so good. The ball reaction is so aesthetically or visually pleasing, I guess. And when you ace one with the reality, nothing feels better, because it just pulls right up and pops and throws stuff all over the place, and just, it looks like the best thing ever when you ace one with the reality. But man, I've got to be perfect, and I am not perfect. I have to be perfect. I think it's a lot, again, I think it works out a lot better for righties because there's built-in track friction. You have track friction to work with that blends out the ball reaction. So like I said, on the left side of the lane, I don't have the track friction to kind of balance out the ball reaction. So everything, even super strong asymmetric solids at 2000 grit, can be a little too long or a little too flippy on the left side, because there's just not the constant continual wear that, the right side gets a whole lot more wear than the left side does. Anyway, I don't want to turn this into a lefty versus righty debate and sit here and whine about it forever. So this video has gone on long enough. We'll have something else later. We'll talk about complements. We'll talk about bag building. We'll talk about a whole bunch of different things. If you're watching this as a video later, leave me comments down to where, leave me comments and just let me know what you want to see either it compared to next, or maybe what it might replace, or where it would fit the bag, which it fits at the top of the bag. But there's, again, the Proton and the reality are in there too, and it depends kind of on your game conditions, how you want to build the bag, too, whether you want something that's chuggy and smooth on top, or whether you want something with a little bit more pop that's maybe a little bit more usable in other situations like a reality. It really depends on what you want, some people have 3 ASIMs at the top of their bag. You might go gem altered reality UC2 or something like that if you really need a bunch of hooks and a bunch of pops. So would it be better to adjust the surface of a bowling ball than having a polished version like reality and altered reality? No, because even if you do take the altered reality and the reality to the same surface, the altered reality is still going to be cleaner and quicker, just because of the different additives that they put in there to make one solid or make one pearl, I guess. You have a classroom video about reading ball reaction? Yes, I think so. I've got, and if not specifically about reading ball reaction, there's a lot of ball reaction talk in there. There's a lot about reading ball reaction in there. So I'm also going to do a video coming up about the difference between so yeah, I do have one coming up that's about bad ball reaction versus bad execution, which are definitely very different things. So thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it. Once again, I'm going to throw my shameless propaganda here. Rosal 10 for 10% off at CoolWick. This is the Red Spiral quick ship. Red Spiral Waves quick ship. This is my my whiteout jersey design. I had a lot of people kind of interested in this. It's kind of simple, but it's pretty sharp and stands out. I also have a chat server if you want to talk about this. There's a whole lot of people smarter than I am in this. We have a really good community in here, and if you want the member side where we have 15 to 20 different channels, from everything to dogs to food to Wordle to a Brunswick channel, a Motive channel, whatever else you want to talk in there. Patreon for $5 a month that you can link to your Discord server. You can also get a free preview from now until the end of the month. Patreon doesn't start charging until the 1st of the month, so if you want a free preview on that, that's more or less just a troll filter. Nobody's going to pay $5 a month to come in and troll a bunch of bowling nerds. Also, Jonathan and I, every Wednesday night, we have our Facebook, or we have our show, The Breakdown Pair. We also have a group on Facebook now and an Instagram. The Breakdown Pair group on Facebook, and then at the Breakdown Pair on Instagram if you want to follow that. Also, final thing here, the Bowler Show with David Laszlo as returning as the host, starting back here on my channel, 6 p.m. every Sunday on March 6th is the start date for that, and then we'll be on virtually every Sunday unless we have a major conflict. We'll be back on with anybody and everybody, and you don't even have to worry, can you have Belmo on, or can you have Bill O'Neill on, or whatever else. Yes, everybody that's a name in the bowling industry and people that you haven't even heard of will be on the show. So, haven't heard of yet. Rephrase that. So, thanks a bunch, everybody, for hanging out. Really enjoy it. Yes, and the next one said something about the Nova. We're going to be looking at some of the other ASIMs, the RSTX one, Nova, some of the shinier ones, Dark Code, Alternate Reality. We're going to look at how they compare, how they complement, really, the gem. So we're going to be doing that next week. I should have a couple more live streams, a couple more videos up. Thanks, everybody, once again. The Bowler's Mart link is in the description below. It really is the easiest way to help me out is to like the video, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. Same old stuff here in every other YouTube video, but really, honestly, this is just the easiest way. If you don't care about the Discord thing, you don't care about the Patreon thing, whatever else, just like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and buy your stuff at Bowler's Mart. Through my link, because then that'll associate me with your purchases, and that kind of helps stuff on the back end to show why these companies should continue to support me so that I can keep making these videos for everyone. So thanks a bunch. Appreciate it. We will see you later next week, Wednesday. See you on Wednesday. Breakdown Pair Wednesday.